amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed.
And Chris is on the other side on our virtual platform. So let's begin with Lemi right away. One story is dominating the papers, of course, this morning, and that's the choice of the vice presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC for next year's presidential election. Tinubu has settled for former Governor of Borno State, Kashim Shettima, who is a Muslim from northern Nigeria. A lot of people saw it coming, but several others did not believe that the choice of a Muslim ticket will happen, at this time in our country's political history. But let's get your reaction.
Well, let's say clearly, for me, it hasn't come as a surprise, the Muslim ticket. It's been in the offing, it's been in the works for quite a while. But one thing is clear, and that is the desperation, the sky-high desperation of the current political class, especially the APC and the PDP, to wrestle power and become the next president and vice president of the country. PDP started all of this drama that has led to this point, when PDP would not abide by its own practice, its own code of conduct, its own constitution, to ensure that the next president comes from the south. That whole drama saw them introduce the phantom concept of winnability. It was no longer that, yes, if power has resided in the north for 8 years, then it should naturally shift to the south. That's an agreement across board, an arrangement and a practice by the Nigerian people before now. But because, again, of the delusory idea that if you are not from the north, you cannot win an election, made them, the PDP particularly, to introduce the concept of winnability, and therefore they found a way to push the ticket to Atiku from the north, a Muslim from the north. Yes, his work was made a lot lighter, maybe, in the choice of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta as his running mate, who is a Christian, an attempt to balance that, even having set a wrong precedent, which compelled APC to look for how to produce somebody who can match Atiku. Now, Tinubu has settled for a Muslim ticket, and I've heard narratives and read online, offline, people will say that because, of course, it was done in the Abiola Kingibe era, they say Tinubu is as loved and popular in the north as MKO Abiola was. We know that that is just talking politics, it's not talking fact at all. Abiola is second to none in that sense. And in the era 3 decades ago when that happened, we were not as divided and polarized across ethnic and religious lines as we are now. As a matter of fact, one of the major legacies President Muhammadu Buhari has bequeathed and is living in the last 7 years of his administration is the fact that he has left a legacy of a more broken Nigeria, broken across the fault lines. The fault lines of ethnicity and religion is far well pronounced. And that is why it is a disservice, out of the desperation to win. And we have bought into the mantra that except the North supports you, you cannot win. And so the statement even being made by the choice of a Muslim ticket from the North as vice president goes to say to the North that you do not have a Christian who is of political value, so much so that we can get to balance a ticket. This is a country that is multifaceted. It's a country that is ethno-religious. It's a country that has beyond Christianity and Islam. And so you cannot wake up, for all intent and purposes. Yes, they have the choice to make, but let's not delude ourselves. And Nigerians must know the message that has been sent out is that the North must determine the fate of Nigeria by the choice of Shettima, who is a Muslim from the North. And it is that lack of respect for the fact that we're a plural nation with various religious lineages, and we disrespect it in the way that APC has disrespected it, is the reason Nigerians must be urged to make sure that that message does not succeed. As a matter of fact, before now, I thought that Tinubu and Peter Obi were the formidable front runners. But the moment that decision was announced, which we were expecting anyway, it became clear that Nigerians, for the interest of unity and our diversity and respect for each other, Nigerians must, in a way of protest, look elsewhere. Else, we make Nigeria a one-religion state and jeopardize the interest and the rights of others apart from Muslims, especially from the North, to aspire to office.
All right, let's get in our reviewer on our virtual platform now. Chris Wandu, would you lend your voice to this debate over a Muslim ticket in Nigeria at this time? Lemmy here has said that this choice that Tinubu has made shows lack of respect for a plural nation. But if you listen to the Tinubu himself, he's trying to make case, and give reasons why he has made that choice. He says, I picked Shettima because religion, ethnicity can't determine our path. So in his thinking, it's a way of bringing Nigerians away from religious, bigotry, so to speak. Your voice.
Thank you very much once again for having me. First and foremost, let me just lay the voice to some of the things that Lemmy said. He said that the PDP started the idea of not adhering to the concept of having their presidential candidate from the south. But yes, to a large extent I agree with him, but it's not only limited to the PDP, because the APC also threw its own presidential primaries open. That is why people like Senate President Lawan contested. So both party, the fact that Tinubu emerged does not necessarily mean that APC also zoned its own presidential candidate, presidential primaries to the south. Both the PDP and the APC did that, and that is why Lawan and some other people from the north contested on that. But at the end of it all, the APC made a choice of going for a southern presidential candidate. So I think that should be put in context. Then on the issue of the Muslim ticket, yes, Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu can say anything, can do anything to justify what he has done. But that just brings me back to what happened in 2015, where it took the president close to about 6 months for him to be able to put together his ministerial list. And at the end of it, what did we see? What we got was nothing to write home about. If you have taken the APC presidential candidate, Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this long to be able to pick a presidential candidate, and it's also from the north, yes, I agree with it. But a Muslim ticket, then I don't see anything fantastic about it. But let us put this also in context, that this is not the first time that Tinubu wanted to have a Muslim ticket. In 2015, everybody is aware that Tinubu wanted to be the vice presidential candidate of President Muhammadu Buhari during that election, and it took a lot of battle for the president, as popular as he was then. I would say he's popular now, as popular as he was then, to be able to shut that down with people like Bukola Saraki was the Senate president, who said no, this cannot fly. And it was then that Tinubu grudgingly agreed to nominate somebody like Yemi Osinbajo, who eventually became the vice presidential candidate of the APC to pair with President Muhammadu Buhari, and the APC won the election in 2015. So this is not the first time. What I'm saying is a candidate calling the bluff of Christians, and he believes that with or without Christians, he can win the election. This is talking about over 100 million Christians in Nigeria. Because when you look at it, last time I checked Wikipedia, the population of Christians in Nigeria is about close to 46%, 47%. Last time I checked, I don't know whether that's, and that was just some months back. So if you're looking at about 46% of Christians in Nigeria and close to about 48% of the equal ratio of Muslims, then it would be sensitive for anybody to wake up and say, oh no, it's only a Muslim ticket that can run. That to me is very, very sensitive. And some people have even come with the conjecture that yes, the wife is a pastor in one of the churches, and I say it's the wife on the ballot box. It is quite unfortunate. And as let me rightly say, people are giving the conjecture that, oh, it happened in 1993 during Abiola. Abiola and Tinubu are not the same. And the situation is not also the same, because in 1993, we didn't have Christians being killed on a daily basis, being people going to the churches to kill Christians just as they did at a war, just as we have seen in the past few weeks, where clerics have been kidnapped, some have been killed, Catholic priests have been killed across the country, and there's been some kind of attack on some of the. And don't also forget that some years back, about when President, the last president of United States, when President visited United States, the president asked him that, I heard that Christians are being persecuted in your country. What do you have to say about that? The president, our President Muhammadu Buhari himself, came out to say that, yes, he was asked that question and he answered. So Nigeria is more polarized than anybody does just think. Because let me tell you for free that religion is a factor, even in advanced countries. Clerical example is what is happening in the United Kingdom. If you go to Northern Ireland, the war over the years has been between even two Christian groups, the Protestants and the Orthodox Catholic, and that war raged for a long time, just until a few years ago when that issue was resolved. In the United States of America, as good as they are majority Christian, but you still realize that President Biden is still being referred by the United States, by the Americans, as the second Catholic president of the United States. That is even a country that have close to about 99% Christian. So the situation, anybody that thinks that I can just wish away the issue of Christianity or religion in our polity is just calling the bluff. But it is left for the electorate. It's not for me to say. Come 2023, Nigeria's electorate to decide whether the choice of a Muslim ticket is what they want to go for, or a liberal-minded Christian, Muslim Christian candidature is what to go. But for me, this is a big slap on the Christian community in Nigeria, and there's no way anybody can defend that. Because on the last note, let me go ask the question. We did not accept a Christian ticket. Let's stop it at that.
All right. Points well taken, Chris, but we'll come back to you before we round off, certainly. Let's speak to Lemi on this again. Lemi, I think we can really easily relate to the feelings of Christians who at the moment feel left out in the APC presidential campaign project ahead of 2023. But some people will argue that politics is a game, and those who play the game are sometimes at liberty, to employ all tactics and strategies just to secure victory. And that's what perhaps, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done in looking the side way of the north in choosing his vice presidential candidate. But you earlier made mention of 1993, the Muslim ticket, joint ticket between MK, the late Chief MK Abiola, and of course Babagana Kingibe, and Nigerians voted overwhelmingly for that ticket. If not that election was annulled, Chief MK Abiola would have been from the southwest, and a Muslim would have been president, and Babagana Kingibe from the north, a Muslim, would have also been Nigeria's vice president. Nigerians voted overwhelmingly for that ticket. Unfortunately, that project did not see the light of the day after it was annulled. what has changed? If Nigerians could vote a Muslim ticket in 1993, what has changed 29 years after?
What has changed? In 1993, I am sure you did not hear of suicide bombing. You did not hear of passengers going from one part of the country to the other, and terrorists would hijack the vehicle, kidnap them, and all. In 1993, there was not this orchestrated and coordinated attempt to continually abduct Christian clerics in Nigeria. In 1993, there was not President Muhammadu Buhari, who has in 7 years emphasized the dividing lines of religion and ethnicity. So much so that when we were little, up till in 1993, for those who did social studies, when you talk about tribes, you talk of Hausa, Fulani. You put them together. You talk of Igbo, you talk of Yorubas, but you come to, they say Hausa, Fulani. But even under this administration, we have seen that Hausa has also been divided with Fulani. The way Nigerians were in 1993 and the character of Chief MKO Abiola. Chief MKO Abiola was a humanist who was not seen by anybody as whether Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. He was just seen as a thoroughbred Nigerian who loved the people, and the people loved him. You can even tell businesses and all that he was into. We have this time that Nigeria is increasingly divided, and you have a president who has led our further division. Then you have a Tinubu, whom spin doctors are trying to liken to Abiola. There is nothing, as a matter of fact, there is nothing that brings Tinubu to the class of Abiola in terms of how the people perceived Abiola then and how they perceive Tinubu now. I think he's really made it, for me, Tinubu and the APC have made it pretty easy for Nigerians, especially not just Christians, but fair-minded Nigerians across the country, be you a Muslim or a Christian. Because again, remember, it was the same APC governors who rose and said they should allow power go to the south, against, of course, Buhari's initial concept of wanting to throw it open and all that. Of course, it was thrown open, but the governors from the north of APC stood firm for Nigeria's democracy. That was what we thought, until it became clear that the deal to make sure Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu becomes the flag bearer was because among the governors, the northern governors, the Muslim governors, was the calculation that one of them will be picked. So it was not even for altruistic reasons that they did that. It was for their self-serving interest. And we are where we are, and they say it doesn't matter. I would, as much as possible, continue to use my voice to rally as many Nigerians as are willing, that in a country that is made up of majorly Christians and Muslims, of course with other religion, but major religion, Islam and Christianity, and Tinubu will take this step. He has made the job easier for people who will look the way of Atiku or look the way of Peter Obi. He has made it easy as far as I'm concerned, because the others respected the fact that we are a multi-religious group and balanced their tickets, not on the concept of winnability. But Tinubu and APC have shown that their desperation to become the next leaders of the country is more important than equity, justice, and fairness, which demands that a Christian should be on the vice president slot in any party whatsoever. So that disrespect and that show of desperation in the concept of winnability, which is a phantom concept that gives the idea that only the North can decide what happens. The North itself alone cannot decide who becomes president. So we must balance it. At least pretend to even respect the people. If Tinubu is as popular as they say he is, like Abiola, when people voted, they didn't care about who was on the other side of the ticket in Abiola's time, because he had an overwhelming recognition. But Tinubu knows that it does not have that amount of inroads in the North, and that is, and he needs it. It doesn't have the overwhelming inroads that MKO Abiola had, and because of that, he desperately needed to balance it with his brother governors from the North, what they have suggested, and that is what he has done. And I think that Nigerian electorates must rise to say that we need leaders who are desperate to turn the fortunes of Nigeria around, not leaders who are desperate to take the reins of power for their selfish interest.
All right, Chris, let's come in now. Even though there are so many issues in the papers, making the front page, but we're delving into this issue because of how important and the sensitivity it is creating really in the polity. Now, is it right to say that in the northern part of the country, probably there are no strong politicians who have played their role in politics, who have made impact in one way or the other, that the APC can actually choose, as a running mate? Is it to say that Christians shy away from, getting into politics? Because that's what exactly this seems to many Nigerians, that, okay, probably they have looked the whole North, all parts of the northern part of the country, and there's not one Christian that can give the APC as much votes as they will require to win an election.
That's Badarish, Nkoli, and that goes to show the level of desperation on the part of APC, and especially on the part of their presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Don't forget that choice was made by Tinubu. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Once he has made up his mind, he has to rally around the echelons of the party to support his choice. And that is why he decided to go to Daura to present Shettima. And Shettima is not coming without some baggages. For goodness sake, let me put it to you, and let us not forget in a hurry that the abduction of the Chibok girls was done under Shettima as the governor of Borno State. Until now, over 100 of those students are still in the custody of terrorists. You can blame me you can blame it on good Lord Jonathan Godman, you can blame anybody. But it was under his watch as the governor of Borno State that we had that level of abduction and killing. And so he still has some baggages. But coming back to your question that in the whole of the North, what are we talking about? There's one governor, Lalong, who is the governor of Plateau State. Sound, intelligent, vibrant, cerebral, that have won, that has been a two-time governor of that state. And that is a choice I was also looking at, so that he can be able to rally the Christians also in the North. And there are so many others within that spread who have also contributed to Nigeria. My own is that Tinubu thinks that, he has the well with that. Because let me take you back to even the Lagos State, where Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes from. At the last two elections, go and see how the PDP performed in the presidential election in Lagos State. It was not a roller coaster for him, despite the fact that he stood like a colonel in Lagos. In the House of Assembly election, go and see the number of PDP candidates in the State House of Assembly in Lagos State. Go and see the margin between President Muhammadu Buhari and Atiku in the last presidential election. So what am I saying in essence? It's not the way they are looking at it that is so, and if he's so popular as his way, he wouldn't even bother. He wouldn't have bothered on his whether this thing is from North or for Muslim or not. because his popularity was supposed to have taken a toll in his choice of vice presidential candidate. But it is very, very unfortunate that he decided to go this way. And I'm just thinking that the APC and also Bola Ahmed Tinubu they are trying to overvalue their self-confidence on an issue like this. But Nigerians, as I said in 2022, we have the choice. If they feel that a Muslim ticket is what they want, they will vote for him. But if they think that that is not the issue, they will vote for that candidate. Don't forget, we have the NC going on. We also have Atiku and some other presidential candidates who are also scoring up. Why we are discussing Tinubu is because the APC and the PTB are the major political parties in Nigeria, and most Nigerians believe that those are the only two political parties that can win the presidential election. But that may not be right. But the fact remains that the way the APC is so desperate about this thing, thinking that there's only a Muslim ticket that will fetch them the presidential candidate, they may be running into a serious.
All right, Chris.
There are some.
Chris,
Chris,
we just have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
The beauty about democracy is that it's a game of choice. It's a game of choice. The various political parties have made their choices. Nigerians are reviewing the options available to them to make their decisions in 2023.
The decision is easier now than it was.
You're thinking. All right.
Many thanks, Chris Wandu, publisher CKN News. We appreciate your time on Paper Review this morning.
Thank you very much.
Lemi Ohebe, thank you so much as usual.
Thanks for having me.
All right, great day, guys. So we move on to our first conversation for today. Funny enough, we'll be looking at this same issue because it's a trending issue in Nigeria politics today. And until we're able to, analyze the situation and get Nigerians to make the right decision, we may not leave this topic. So we'll be looking at 2023 general election, and we'll be evaluating the presidential race and the choices of running mate for the political parties. And we've made attempt to bring the three major political parties representative in the studio. Oladimeji Fabiyi is the People's Democratic Party member. He is right here in the studio. Okay, Ken Asogwa is a Labour Party member, also with him in the studio. We're expecting Abiola Rinsola.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. Kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.